the Halcyon Threshold of the Magellan Cloud, a place where the fabric of space and time seems to ripple with the echoes of ancient cosmic events. A swirling maelstrom of color where the very essence of the universe seems to dance in a chaotic yet mesmerizing ballet. Purple and blue nebula clouds stretched across the void, painting the darkness with their ethereal glow. They were the dying breaths of ancient stars, their corpses long since gone dark, leaving behind only whispers of their former glory. At the edge of this cosmic canvas, a different kind of light flickered. Cold, hard, and precise, like the gaze of a predator, the light of the Mekkah, a symbol of power and unyielding authority. A vast armada of warships hung in the void, their presence an indication to the Mekkah's might. They were sleek and angular, menacing, each one a masterpiece of engineering and destruction. Each ship bristled with weaponry, ready to unleash devastation at a moment's notice. The Mekkah was a force of order, driven to conquer and control, to impose its will upon the galaxy. They were relentless in their advance across the galaxy, an unstoppable tide of metal and fire. The Halcyon Threshold was the first encounter for the defense forces of the Celestial Confederation, the first test for humanity's survival against overwhelming odds. Beyond this point lay many colonies and the heart of the Confederation. 13 homeworlds, billions of lives, all potentially hanging in the balance. All potentially stood on the precipice of annihilation. The fate of the galaxy could be teetering on the edge of a knife. Aboard the Starforge Elohim, a vessel endowed with its advanced technology and formidable presence in the fleet, Commander Melchizedek stood on the bridge, his posture exuding authority and confidence. Across the bridge, officers moved with precision, their faces illuminated by the spectral glow of tactical displays. The ship thrummed around him, a symphony of controlled chaos, with crew members bustling about, each performing their duties with precision. He was the man selected to negotiate the fires of this war, facing countless battles with the hope of emerging victorious, faced with being outnumbered time and time again. He faced countless battles, none of which went beyond what he was facing here. He began to think of the hardships his people may have to endure. But his eyes, a startling blue against his tanned skin, burned with a fierce determination, a fire that refused to be extinguished. Melchizedek ran a hand through his hair, a nervous habit he'd picked up during his military career, a sign of his apprehension weighing deep in his soul. He could almost feel the weight of responsibility pressing down on him, a burden that seemed to grow heavier with each passing moment. The lives of his crew, the fate of the Confederation, it all rested on his shoulders, a responsibility he did not take lightly. He closed his eyes, picturing his family on the beach on Nivra, their faces blurred by time and distance, a vision that brought him both comfort and pain. A pang of longing shot through him, a reminder of what he was fighting for and what he stood to lose. It might be the last time he saw them, even in his mind. It was a thought that filled him with a profound sense of sorrow and resolve. The Mekkah fleet stretched across the void, a witness to their cold, machine-driven efficiency. 100 dreadnoughts around them, an uncountable swarm of cruisers and fighters moving like a colony of metal locusts, blotted out the stars. This force formed a wall of iron and energy dwarfing the 26 Confederation starforges facing them. Their hulls, a dull, lifeless gray, seemed to absorb the light of the surrounding nebula. They moved with an eerie silence, their presence more felt than heard. These were not ships crewed by flesh and blood. They were cybernetic extensions of the Malignant One's will, controlling a vast, unfeeling intelligence that spanned everywhere. An intelligence that saw humanity as an anomaly, a virus to be purged. Outnumbered nearly 4-1, Melchizedek inhaled deeply. Open fleet-wide comms. A soft tone confirmed the link. Across 26 starforges, his voice carried to the captains, officers, and warriors of the Confederation. "Brothers, sisters, sons and daughters of the Confederation," he began. "The enemy believes they march toward conquest. They do not know they march toward their reckoning. We are the shield. We are the light. We hold this line for all that we love. We fight not for war, but so that war may one day end. Stand firm. Make them fear us." A single response echoed across the bridge. For the light. We fight for our families, for our worlds, for the very right to exist. Section 5. Clash at the Threshold. The first wave of fusion beams erupted from the Mekkah dreadnoughts, streaking across the void like rivers of molten death. Starforge kinetic deflectors absorbed the brunt of the impact, dispersing the energy in rippling halos. Quantum torpedoes from both sides met in the middle, bursting into cataclysmic explosions that sent gravitational ripples through the fleet. "Return fire," Melchizedek commanded. The Starforge fleet retaliated with coordinated precision. Columns of golden fusion beams carved through the darkness, crashing into enemy dreadnoughts with thunderous force. Torpedoes spiraled across the void, piercing into the Mekkah formations, leaving behind expanding clouds of fire and debris. For a moment it seemed balanced. Each volley met with counter-volley, each strike absorbed by adaptive shielding and kinetic dispersal fields. The war machines of the Malignant One were learning, adapting, shifting their energy matrices with each second. Melchizedek gritted his teeth. The battle could not last like this. They were holding, but how long before the Mekkah found a way to break through? Then the alarms flared. His face grim, barked orders. "Commander, enemy reinforcements inbound, more squadrons warping in from deep space." He glanced at the tactical display. The enemy's numbers were growing. Section 6. The Tactical AI. Deep within the bowels of the Starforge Elohim, a different kind of battle was going to be waged. The Elohim's tactical AI hummed with activity. Its processors, pushed to their limits, crunched data at an astonishing rate. This was Melchizedek's secret weapon. The Ascended Council provided technical help in its creation. Since the Malignant One was once an ascended being, there was nothing that one side didn't know about the other. Melchizedek had a unique idea that none else thought of. It went against every bit of conventional logic. That's how he sold it to his superiors, and how he convinced them that the Mekkah could never expect it. Melchizedek clenched his fists. Initiate attack plan Contra. The Starforge Elohim's tactical AI engaged, its consciousness laced with the wisdom of thousands of Confederation battle simulations. It reached into the Mekkah's network, its binary tendrils weaving into the enemy's encrypted matrices. Section 7. Turning the Tide. A voice whispered through the connection, devoid of soul yet filled with hunger. Designation confirmed. Encryption key for shield recalibration required. A pause. Then the Mekkah systems, in their arrogance, responded. The deactivation sequence for their shielding passed through the link, given freely, unknowingly. Melchizedek's heart pounded. This was it. Execute. And in that instant, the Mekkah's defenses collapsed. Their weapon systems went haywire, while the shields flickered and died. The tide of the battle began to turn. Melchizedek saw his opportunity. "All ships, converge on my position," he ordered, "for the Confederation." The remaining Confederation Starforges followed the Starforge Elohim in the decisive final assault. Section 8. A New Dawn. Fire everything! The Confederation fleet unleashed hell. Fusion beams surged from every Starforge, the sheer magnitude of their combined firepower splitting dreadnoughts apart like glass under a hammer. The once invincible Mekkah formations crumbled, dreadnought after dreadnought erupting in blazing pyres. Quantum torpedoes rained into the enemy lines, bypassing hull plating and detonating inside their cores. The once invincible Mekkah formations crumbled, dreadnought after dreadnought erupting in blazing pyres. The swarm panicked. With their command ships obliterated, the flanking Mekkah forces wavered, hesitated, and then fled. Jump drives flared to life as the survivors of the once mighty armada vanished into the void, abandoning the battlefield in retreat. Melchizedek allowed himself a small smile. They had won. Against all odds, they had survived. But the victory felt hollow. The aftermath. Victory, but at what cost? The cost of victory was etched on the faces of his crew. The weight of their journey was heavy, and it showed in their weary eyes. Silence fell over the bridge. The battle was over. Melchizedek stared out at the wreckage. The wreckage of the Mekkah fleet drifted lifelessly, their metallic husks glowing in the embers of destruction. Confederation ships moved among the ruins, searching for survivors, ensuring no trace of the enemy remained. Melchizedek closed his eyes and let out a slow breath. The Confederation had won, but this was only the beginning. He looked down at the command console. His hands were steady, but deep inside he felt the weight of something unseen. A presence, a knowing. This was but one battle in a much larger war. This victory had come too easily. The fleet was already preparing for the next engagement, knowing that the fight was far from over. He turned to his officers. "Send word to the military command. We have held the line, but the Mekkah will return." He turned away from the viewport, a new resolve hardening his features. Determination replaced the doubt in his eyes. He knew that giving up was not an option. The future of humanity depended on their perseverance and courage. The fight for humanity's survival was far from over. Each crew member was a vital part of this struggle. They geared up, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that their unity was their greatest strength. The Halcyon Threshold was just the beginning. This outpost, a beacon of hope and resilience, stood as a testament to their determination. It was a symbol of what they were fighting for, a future where humanity could thrive. There were more battles to be fought, more sacrifices to be made. Each confrontation brought new challenges, but also new opportunities for heroism and bravery. Everyone knew that their fight was far from over. He took a deep breath, steeling himself for the long road ahead. The path was fraught with danger, but also with the promise of a better tomorrow. His resolve was unwavering, his spirit unbroken. As he gazed into the black void beyond, he whispered under his breath, "And next time, they will be ready for us." But one thing was clear: humanity would face it head-on. With determination in their hearts and unity in their ranks, they would confront whatever the future held. Together, they would forge a path to the next horizon.